Hey everyone, how's it going, and welcome to a quick guide on ZMI. Before I get any further, I do want to say that this is a guide day of release. I have tested it for probably like 4 or 5 hours so far, and I think I figured out pretty much the best way to do it, but not claiming that I'm an expert at this since it's just came out. But I just wanted to give you guys the general info, what I've managed to figure out, and any tips that I have. So, starting off, ZMI is a new runecrafting altar that came out today, or technically it's called the Orania altar. And it's basically an omni altar where you can craft any type of rune, and it's all randomized, so you craft a whole bunch of different types of runes with your essence. From each rune, I believe you get double the experience that you normally would, but since you craft a lot of low level runes, you don't actually get like a crazy amount of XP, but you tend to get an average of around like 10 to 15 XP per rune per essence depending on your rune crafting level, which is still higher than anything else. So probably good for Iron Men who have limited supplies of essence. There are monsters down here that will attack you, so you need to have decent defense, and you need to have Lunar Diplomacy completed and have 71 magic to use the Orania teleport spell, which is a new spell. After you complete Lunar Diplomacy, you have to actually go and talk to Baba Yaga, who is the person in the chicken house on Lunar Isle, to unlock the spell, and you just go through a bit of dialogue. And one other thing that may be useful is the Ardoin Medium Diary will give you better runes, or I think it gives you like 10% more runes or something like that. Maybe it's 15%, but you get more runes if you have the Ardoin Medium Diary completed. You do not need to have the cape equipped, just the diary completed, and you'll get more runes, but not more experience, so it's just a bit better profit if you have the Ardoin Medium Diary done. So as far as inventory and gear, my setup is definitely not optimal, but I'm just kind of messing around. So if you have high defense, the equipment you wear doesn't matter quite as much, but I think still ideally you probably want to wear an armored chest plate and then graceful legs and a graceful hood, and the rest of the gear the same as mine. And actually you probably would want a Ring of Suffering also, because that's a pretty good defensive ring all around, and might as well get it imbued. I didn't feel like buying an armored chest plate and a Ring of Suffering just for today and then selling it back, because I don't really plan to do this myself, but it is a decent rune crafting method. But yeah, if you don't have super high defense, you definitely need to have some decent defensive gear and might need to eat some food here and there. I've found that if I just flick on my ranged prayer here and there when the rangers are actually attacking me, I don't even need to use food with this setup. But if you don't want to use prayer at all, then you can just get some Armadil and a Ring of Suffering. You'll probably be fine if you have high defense. I'd say the most important items to have are the Regen Bracelet. Anybody who runecrafts here should wear a Regen Bracelet, and if you have a hit points cape or a max cape, you should wear that in conjunction with it, and that will give you 4 times the healing rate. If you just have the Regen Bracelet, it'll give you 2 times. So that will make it so you don't need to use much food. If you don't have that, then you might need to pray more or eat more food or whatever. As far as the staff, you can choose for yourself whether you want to be imbuing at the same time or not. If you don't want to imbue, then it doesn't really matter what staff you use as long as it gives unlimited earth runes. If you do want to imbue, then you have to use a mud staff and a tome of fire. So these 2 items give you unlimited runes in both fire, water, and earth, which is good for imbuing, and also the Orania teleport. No matter what, you want to have the earths, of course, for the teleport. And I also have air runes in my pouch, because air runes are useful for the NPC contact spell to repair your pouches, and I also have air runes set as my auto payment rune. So when you're banking with this guy, you do need to pay 20 runes per time that you open the bank, and it can be 20 of any type of rune, so obviously you want to go for cheap runes. And it used to be back in the day in ZMI, you had to click an interface to pay with runes every single time you open the bank, but in old school they decided to make it a little bit more convenient, where you can just talk to the NPC here in Isla, and you can go through and ask about your quick payment details, and you have to set it up the first time, and then after that, like, it'll just automatically open the bank. So I can go like this and it opens the bank right away because I have my air runes in my rune pouch. And it's really nice also that it withdraws runes directly from the pouch. Props to Mod Kieran for doing a very nice job with making all this stuff work. And also in the pouch I have Astral Runes and Cosmic Runes. I would say those are the best runes to take with you, at least if you're imbuing. If you're not imbuing, then it doesn't really matter whether you take Astrals or Laws, I would say. I guess it probably would still be better to take Astrals, since you only need 1 Law for the teleport and you need 2 Astrals. But yeah, basically every single time, at least if you're high RC, you'll get a Law rune to teleport with. And then the Cosmics are for NPC contact. I guess if you're not super high RC, you might be better off taking Astrals and Laws, just so you don't ever have to deal with not having the runes for the teleport, and then you just have to take out a Cosmic rune from the bank every time you need to repair your pouches, which wouldn't be too bad. But yeah, that's pretty much the general info about the setup. Hopefully this is helpful, and next I'm just going to go through a few actual runs and show you what it looks like on my end. So from what I've done today, I've found that having my camera face north all the time is the easiest way to do it. You don't have to rotate your camera at all, and you can get a pretty good angle and everything, including getting close to the altar. So the most important thing for banking is that you want to fill your bank. So it's very easy to do that now with the convenient bank filler items. So just take out your pouches and your rune pouch and make sure they're not placeholdered in your bank. And then just go into this option and click fill bank. And then that way you can click the deposit all button with all of your runes in your inventory and deposit them without depositing your pouches in your rune pouch, which is quite useful. So I definitely recommend doing that. It'll make your life a lot easier since you otherwise would have to be banking like 10 to 15 different types of runes. And as far as the bank setup, by the way, just have your essence wherever you find it convenient. Have stamina potions nearby, maybe some food, and you want to have your payment rune to fill your pouch every like couple of hours since it will run out. And if you ever don't have a law and have to bank elsewhere, you might want to have some of those nearby just to pull out next time. So I can imbue 3 times per lap. I just imbue right as I leave the bank, and then again as I get further down. And there's, I think, 3 or 4 different rangers, so I usually just pray as I'm running by the rangers. There's one that's always around this area, and there's a couple more further down. There's usually one around this area. He might be dead right now or elsewhere, and then there's one always like lurking right near the altar, so you only really have to turn on your range prayer just at those times, and I don't usually bother with other prayers at all. So as far as actually crafting on the altar, you have to drop some runes if you want to be completely efficient, because otherwise your pouches won't be able to be fully emptied. And the way you can determine this, basically, if you have more than 8 types of runes in your inventory, then you're going to have less than 15 open inventory spaces. If you have your giant and your small, and then your large and your medium, each one of these 2 combinations will have 15 essence in it. So if your inventory were to look like this, for example, then you could empty your pouches without having to drop any runes and still craft all of your essence. But if your inventory has more runes in it, like so, then you'd want to drop some runes, empty your pouches, and then craft. And if you're focused on profit, you might want to avoid dropping more expensive runes like gnats, laws, deaths, etc. If you don't really care, then just drop them all, though I would probably recommend trying to avoid dropping laws if you don't have them in your pouch, because if you drop laws and then don't get any more on your final craft, then you're kind of screwed. And well, I mean, you can just use a max escape teleport if you have it, I guess, or maybe a dual ring or something, but it might be kind of a nuisance. Though if you continuously drop runes and have laws on the ground, then maybe you could just pick them up and teleport with them. But yeah, I would definitely recommend that you do actually drop your runes, at least drop the poor runes, just so you can craft more. And I think it's it's definitely much more efficient to do that than to empty your pouches for a 3rd time and do, would it be 4 total crafts? Because each craft is an extra at least 4 ticks, which will definitely add up over time, and you may as well drop them if you have like the HK or whatever mouse keys that you would need to do it quickly. One thing that is strange about the Orania altar in comparison to most other altars is that it's actually a 4-tick craft instead of a 5-tick craft for some reason. As I tried to just demonstrate there, it's 1 tick faster per craft, so you can empty your pouches 1 tick earlier than any other altar in the game, which is odd to me. I never realized that about ZMI, but I guess it was that way back in the day as well. So that is one thing to keep in mind if you're used to the typical runecraft delay at like Nats or Astrals or whatever. It will feel a little bit different. It is a little bit faster, so you definitely want to keep that in mind. And whenever you don't have to drop runes, it should be fairly easy once you get the hang of it to get that 4-tick, like empty your pouches on just the right tick and click the altar if you have your zoom and resizable setup so that the altar is right near your inventory. It makes it a lot easier. It's pretty difficult to try to drop 2 sets of runes, empty your pouches, and click the altar all in 1 tick. So if you're dropping runes, you're probably going to end up 5-ticking. Am I lagging? What is this? But yeah, like I think right there I was just 5-ticking the pouches because I had to drop the runes, which, losing 1 tick to save or losing as many as 2 ticks to save like 4 at the end versus not dropping and having to do an extra craft is definitely worth it, so may as well. So in terms of the XP per hour, it does depend on your runecrafting level. Higher runecrafting level means more high-level runes, which means better XP per hour. I'm going to throw up on screen the XP rates that Jagex said it would be in the dev blog, which if you're fast at banking and stuff, you will get higher than these rates. I through the testing I've done today, I've been getting anywhere between like 50 and 53k per hour at 99 versus what they say is 46k. So I'd say that for a fairly quick banker, it's probably about 10% faster than any of these rates at any given level. So it's a pretty decent runecrafting method, at least to do until 77 if you want something easy, and then just go on to say RC if you want just a easy ride to 99 RC, not necessarily the most efficient or profitable, but low effort or fairly high XP rates. In terms of macro efficiency, it's definitely not worth doing ZMI. I mean, lavas are like 70k an hour and they cost a bit of money, but that's a pretty significant increase, and if you want to be making good profit, then you're much better off doing astrals. The GP per hour will of course vary depending on your runecrafting level and speed and stuff also, but I've determined it to be around 700k an hour just based on rough numbers. It definitely varies hour to hour and stuff, but it's probably in the region of anywhere between like 600 and 800k per hour at higher levels, and you know, each level that you gain you get a bit better profit and a bit better XP. So the profit's decent. It's definitely noticeably better than ZARC, and it's a little bit faster XP per hour than like Souls, for example, at least at high levels. Souls cap out at around 45k from what I've heard, and this is, if you're decent at banking, definitely over 50k an hour at higher levels. And like from what it shows on the info on the dev blog, it looks like the XP rate really shouldn't vary much between 90 and 99 at all. So you should be able to get like 50k an hour for most of the time that you're actually runecrafting here if you do choose to do this to 99. So yeah, it's a small step up from Souls in terms of XP per hour and profit. It's definitely higher APM, but not nearly as click intensive as lavas. So it's a decent mid-ground alternative. It's not worth doing at high levels anyways, and it's not really efficient at any level because you can do lavas at any level and they're always better. But if you don't want to do lavas, then this might be the thing to do. And also, if you're an Iron Man, it's probably a pretty good method because you get so much more XP per essence that it might actually be more efficient than lavas, just because you wouldn't have to spend as much time collecting essence, but I'm not really sure exactly on the numbers for that one. One other thing I wanted to quickly mention that I realized I left out earlier is that if you don't have a hit points cape, then you might want to leave on the rapid heal prayer, because if you do have a hit points cape, then the rapid heal prayer doesn't stack with it, but if you don't, then like either the hit points cape or the rapid heal prayer will stack with the regen brace, so it probably is worth leaving on the rapid heal prayer. It will drain your prayer pretty slowly, and then every so often you can just recharge your prayer points at the altar right above the banker, and it won't really take much of any extra time, and it probably will be worth it. So that's a nice little thing you can do if you are not 99 hit points. So I think that pretty much covers everything that I've managed to figure out about ZMI today. Let me know if you figure out any other useful tips or anything in terms of inventory, bank setup, layout, whether you're in resizable and fixed, all that kind of thing. It seems like resizable makes it pretty easy because you can just like withdraw and then click directly out of the bank and that kind of thing. But I was doing it in fixed for a while earlier and it wasn't really a huge difference. But yeah, I think that's about all I have for this video. Thank you guys for watching, and hopefully it has been helpful. Good luck with your runecrafting gains, and I will see you guys all later.